Hello folks, it is Soul with another Horrific Vision run with a commentary. This week's run is in Orgrimmar, and I'm going to perform my first 5 chest clear while wearing a faceless mask. Before we start though, let me talk about these masks. The faceless masks are represented by these altars here, wherein one will afflict you with a debuff that will make your vision run a big old pain in the butt. On top of that, for every mask that you wear, enemy health and damage done is increased by 25%. To activate them, just walk up to the mask's altar in your vision waiting room and put on the mask. So why do you want these masks? Wearing a mask will score you some extra mementos per run, and wearing a mask while completing a full 5 chest vision run will get you gear at a higher item level bracket. So how do you get these masks? You get your first after completing your very first 5 chest run. You'll receive an item that starts a quest, and upon receiving it, you get your first mask, the Mask of the Long Night. While wearing this mask, you cut your total sanity in half, which is a very big deal. In fact, I don't recommend that you try to attempt a 5 chest clear using this mask until your cloak is close to fully upgraded. So let me tell you how to get the other faceless masks. All you need to do is complete a lost area while wearing a faceless mask, and you'll receive it in your end of run chest. Each of the 4 lost areas drops a different mask. The Mask of the Burned Bridge drops from the Valley of Wisdom. Mask of the Daredevil drops in the Valley of Honor. Mask of the Pained drops from Old Town, and Mask of the Dark Imagination drops off the Mage Quarter. I suggest obtaining Dark Imagination first, because it's arguably the least impactful of the 5 masks. With this mask on, while you have less than half of your sanity, a mob will appear every minute or two or so. It doesn't have that much health, and it has a swirly to dodge, but the most dangerous thing about it is that it keeps you in combat, so just be sure to give yourself a little bit more of a buffer to use a sanity restoration orb. You're gonna kind of sort of waste a run, but just throw your Long Night mask on, beeline straight to the Mage Quarter and defeat Umbric, and Dark Imagination will be yours. Okay, before we get to the commentary, let's get to my Paladin's prep, which, nothing much has changed from any of my previous runs, except for me switching away from Echoing Void to Twilight Devastation. Recent nerfs to Echoing Void have made this trait less viable compared to Twilight Devastation, which is kind of a bummer because this proc doesn't feel as reliable, but when it does connect, the results are often pretty satisfying. So my tip for this is to, just do lots of world quests. I'm pretty much trading one world quest ring for another. Since a 1 mask run only really requires more DPS, I'm sticking with Ghastly Goulash as my food buff, and I'm using any other raid buff that I can get a hold of. And as you can see on screen, this is my talent and essence setup. With all that said, let's get started. So I'm a little bit nervous about doing this particular run because I have no vessels left, and the run that I did just before this, I screwed up. I pulled too many mobs, and I'll point out where I messed up on. But otherwise, I'm still kind of getting the feel, trying to experiment as to the order of operation, and I might change this over time, but after tripping through those little obstructions there, I get started straight up going for the shaman, but I get caught with the totem right away. In previous runs, I tend to go all the way, pick up the honor guards, and then come back again. I thought doing this would have been a better idea, but it didn't really pay off at all, unfortunately. So Twilight Devastation, you'll be able to see it in just a moment. It's a big laser beam that just rains a lot of damage on enemies. It only hits targets in front of you, not all around you, so you just want to make sure that you have yourself facing a bunch of targets that are in front of you in hopes that the beam will hit a lot of people. So here I get hit by the totem again. God, I hate this totem. So awful. But the beam helps me. And to be honest, any sort of DPS increase that you can get, even if it's a not so reliable beam, it'll still pay off. So in this case, I'm going to go for Zakan's place. I keep forgetting which area it's called. Wisdom, right? But I opt to go for this as usual because I'm just used to the routine. And for the most part, I think in some of your early runs, depending on your class and role and specialization, you might have your own routine that you're accustomed to. This is the one that I've really gotten used to over time. So with this, my sanity level has pretty much gone back to the very top, and I totally forgot to mention that in this run I'm also using Gift of the Titans. So I was able to get to the very bottom of the tree, and I'm able to Gift of the Titans is great because what it does is reduce your sanity loss by, well, 100% for about 20 seconds or so. It's something that's not very easy to track, though. Maybe I'll consider using a weak aura to track whenever it's being used so I can be mindful of it. But Gift of the Titans, the behavior of this sort of traits, it's basically, well, keep killing because it procs off of whenever enemies are defeated. So you just want to try to keep your uptime going by continually killing stuff. It's signified by the little Azerite fog smoke trail that I'm leaving. It doesn't look like I have it active right now, but it really helps because of the huge haste increase. Basically, it's a huge DPS increase and speed increase. But as you can see, I made really short work of all those mobs there between the Gift of the Titans buff as well as Twilight Devastation. Even then, though, since this is my very first run with very first complete run with a mask on, I'm not taking any chances. I'm not bothering with things like treasure chests or anything like that. I just cleared everything out, backtracked a little bit, and went for the totem here. So somehow, I don't know how I did it. I always take that route. Maybe there's a hotfix for all I know, but usually I go through that area without aggroing those two mobs, so that's unfortunate. It's a few seconds lost, but it's not really a big deal. But these mobs do kind of obscure my vision. I'm not able to see the orb right under the boss right over there, not for a while at least. So they can get kind of annoying. I'm gonna write this one off as just kind of a screw up on me. Maybe I should just hug the building a little bit tighter when I'm engaging this boss. Overall, though, it's not like a huge deal. I'm able to handle this just fine. And sorry about the sirens over there. But now I'm going to go to the next area to help out Gaera. And it's not looking so bad so far. I still have about 70-something% sanity here. So here I opt to do kind of a different pull again. I tap that mob that I just passed by, the one that was fighting Gaera, and I'm just engaging these three mobs right here. I don't know why I did it. I was thinking that maybe focusing on these mobs a little bit more would help down some of them faster, but that didn't quite pan out. The madness that I'm dealing with here is split personality. I didn't even mention entomophobia as the other effects, as the other madness that I was dealing with in Zakan's area, because for the most part it's just jump and I don't worry about it so much. Split personality, though, is kind of a beast. You definitely need to make sure where you're going, because right there, I did not. Sometimes it can get really frustrating when you know that you need to dodge something, otherwise you're going to be in trouble. But your screen's about to go a little pink, you're about to lure some stuff in, and things can get that much worse. Somehow I dragged in more mobs, and I'm not quite sure how. I have a feeling that it was an extra mob that I brought in thanks to the mask effects. I think what had happened there was that I pulled in a mob, and that mob happened to aggro another pack. So that's another way that this mask can potentially cause a lot of problems, especially if you're trying to run with as low a sanity as possible. At any rate, though, I backtrack and go back to my usual routine, go for this Dominator, get out of this split personality, run past these guys, pull them, and otherwise go for the elite over here. I'm down to about 25% or so sanity, and these guys are about to give me a nice little refill. So for the most part, you can kind of tell that I'm only paying attention to particular mobs. Some mobs don't matter, like the one that just spawned from the mask over there. But for the most part, there are only very particular mobs that I'll care about. Ones that do crowd control, ones that disappear like the tentacle, or ones that do sanity damage. And that's a good example of dodging split personality. Very good, Soul. So with this guy, here's an example of where split personality can become incredibly troublesome. You'll see it in just a moment, because at least at the moment I seem okay. My sanity is pretty low, but once I kill this guy, I'll be able to get out of it. But there we go. I got hit by both the split personality debuff and the stomp. So it has me really, really low on sanity. I'm barely able to get by. I get my 200 sanity back, thankfully. That gives me enough time to at least position myself and throw down the orb and get ready. So there could have been a chance that the mob from the mask could have spawned at that point. But there is about like a 1 or 2 minute gap between when these mobs appear. So you just want to be very careful because that could have easily ruined the run. So apparently this Ring of Chaos, I didn't know it, but I guess I can stand inside of it. So if you're deep within melee range of the boss, you can just kind of stand inside him and just AoE the crap out of him. And from there just kind of sidestep his ground attack. And that shouldn't be so bad. So that's just kind of another way to deal with his ability. Split personality might have caused problems with that, but oh well, I think that's something that I'm going to take a risk on and maybe try that later. But at least I finished the area without too much trouble. My sanity bar is pretty full. I'm going to go back to the entrance and then take on the other side. I used pots for that particular kill, so I can't really use an invisibility pot, although there isn't really much to skip here. I'd be able to skip this one pack, which includes a shield bearer, but who cares? Let's just go for him. Take him out. And that didn't take very long, especially with the desynchronized madness that you deal with. Down goes the tentacle, and there's a good Twilight Devastation. Thank you very much. By now you should be fairly familiar with this guy. You just kind of do a certain dance where you sidestep or run through the boss for certain things. Run through him for the orb. Once it goes off, wait for the next orb to go. Run through him again. Make sure to jump for Anemophobia. And that's pretty much it. So, of course, push back for the enemy's ability and just keep deep-sending them down. And there's the horn again. Great. From here, just go for the mobs that matter. The Dominator that got totally vaporized by the Twilight Devastation, thank you very much. Followed by the Tentacle, your enemy number 1. Make sure to take him out. And from there, the other mobs, they're not very impactful. They don't do anything that is a huge deal to you. And then from here, of course, backtrack, take care of the clicks as they come. So once I get this door, I'll turn around, get the NPC that spawns, chain pull the next one, go for the Dominator first, as always. Because the other guys, they don't really do anything that's going to cause you too much harm. Just make sure to take care of the Dominator and his Touch of Abyss. Wait for the ability to click on this guy. Kind of weird that there's a short delay there. And then here is one of those rare opportunities that I give myself to open up a treasure, since you kind of have to wait a few seconds for some RP. So far this run is going pretty well. I still have I still have 2 orbs left. I'm still pretty good on sanity, and so here we go. We'll engage this guy. Try to make short work of him. Burst helps a whole lot here. You want to try to avoid this Void Torment. Try to prevent him from casting it just by nuking him down as quickly as you can. So that way he keeps doing this Cries of the Void Shield, which he does at percentage intervals. So as you can see, he's doing it again right away without doing his other ability. But after it goes off, just takes a few more buttons, and there we go. And with the bonus 200 sanity, we're off to go to the last area. So we're going pretty fast. Not bad for having the increased damage and HP. So here we go with Misha, and I realized almost too late that I shouldn't be standing against an obstruction, especially here in split personality. Otherwise I would have had nowhere to escape from. Get away from the roar, and otherwise tear this one up. I did notice here that Misha was definitely lasting a little bit longer than normal. And that was almost a really difficult spot. Either get hit by the roar, or step into the green stuff and take sanity damage, or run through split personality, which would have disoriented me and things would have been bad here. For the most part, the scarabs, even though they have a really dangerous explosion, for the most part, I ignore them entirely. Between my consecration snare, there's not really too much I need to worry about. I just kind of kite them around, let them do their thing. Hope that Twilight Devastation messes them up, even though that particular one didn't go anywhere. It's okay. Yes, you just gotta watch out and make sure that you're moving carefully whenever you're in this particular lost area. You don't want to accidentally run over a corpse and spawn scarabs. And from here, this is actually where I wiped, because I overpulled. I pulled pretty much the entirety of the other side there. And I just wasn't doing enough damage. The elite was able to just wear me out, do a lot of sanity damage, and that was pretty much it for me. So from here, I'm playing it safe. And to be honest, I shouldn't really have to, but I do it anyway. And I know that I think in future runs, I'm going to try to save that second orb for when I'm all the way up in Rexar's room. That way I can spare myself from some extra sanity damage there. And later on, I'll just try to use Bubble and avoid whatever sanity damage that I take from his Felbor ad, whatever they are. But I use the orb here. I make short work of this guy, get a bunch of sanity, and I actually waste a little bit of sanity since I was pretty high up already. But now we just work the climb up, but not before trying to avoid that right there. Yeah, something really annoying that I find about split personality is that it happens outside of combat too, so that can be really troublesome. Just like that knockback there. So definitely make sure that you are facing a good direction, or as you can see, I'm going to turn this guy around. After the stun, that is. Turn around and put myself on the incline, so that way the knockback doesn't affect me nearly as much. Lesson learned. So like I said earlier, here's where I would have wanted to throw down my orb, but instead I opt to save it for later and just engage Rexar as he is right now. I'm gonna save my cooldown pots and lusts for later. Instead, I just decide, okay, I'm gonna take some of the sanity damage when there are more boars out. I'll pop my divine shield, avoid some of the damage, and I think I opt here to, yeah, that's where I opted to bubble and just keep trying to burst them down, knowing that I'm going to be taking a good bit of sanity damage. But as long as I can get Rexar down, I can get that 200 sanity back. So there was about 60 sanity hit there, about 45 that I got hit by there. And hey, there's our buddy. There's our mask friend. Came in kind of late there. Just in time, right before Rexar went down. So you saw that he sort of appeared just a short distance away, but I'm a little paranoid about whether or not it will pull other mobs too. I'm convinced that it does, and I'm going to be more cautious about this in future runs. All in all, though, we're still looking pretty good. I'm able to relax for a little bit, kind of slow walk things. Still got half a sanity bar left. I do know that a mob might appear at any time. But otherwise, things are looking pretty good. And I definitely feel that this particular mask is the easiest of the 5 to deal with. So I'm going to be doing runs like these and completing quest objectives as I go with this one mask, and we'll go from there. Once I get a higher level and more sanity resistance, that's when I'll consider throwing on 2 or more masks. Oh, and there's our friend. I was thinking about deploying my orb outside instead of inside in case this figment happened to spawn too close to Thrall, and if that put me in combat, then that would have been over. I would have had no recourse for that. But thankfully it spawned just outside the room, so it let me be a lot more comfortable with just deploying the orb inside here. And so I go for the boars first. I want to take them out first to avoid long-term sanity damage, and somehow they just get vaporized. I don't even see where they went, actually. I kind of noticed the difference in HP, not so much the damage because I'm a tank and it's definitely harder to notice that sort of thing. But I definitely noticed a bit more, well, the boss was definitely a bit more hardy. Later on, when I encounter more masks, such as the mask that makes me take more sanity damage from enemies, something like this is going to be incredibly dangerous. Such as being able to break the shield before it explodes, because that did 48 sanity damage to me. Imagine 4 times that damage. But of course, by the time I encounter this, I want to have as much sanity resistance as I can. But this wasn't so bad. Fairly easy and clean clear. I did make mistakes, but even then, I was able to do it with this much time to spare. And with that, I'll go ahead and leave this to the audio. So, you guys have a good one. Stay safe, stay happy, and stay breezy. Alright, let's go through the booty. Booty, booty, booty. Oh, look at that. Another one. Yay. And another one again. And I got a box with faintly glowing air holes. Let's see what this is. Avoid scarred toad. Oh, it's just a thing. Okay. Well, okay, cool. This is my new toy for the moment. Yay. What else we got? We've got a faceless mask. Woohoo! Oh yeah, I got more to turn into. And I have a ranged veterans contract. Fucking whoop-de-doo. Okay, now for the big money. Here we go. Give me triple Titan forged, super corrupt shit. I got. Oh, that's right. I got a transmog mask. How you like that? But then I got. Where is it? Where is it? Malignant. Oh, it's not fucking anything. God, shit.